Welcome to Soulful Conversations with Gaia and Patti.
Real, heart-centered, and fun conversations about life.
In this Soulful Conversations with Gaia and Patti, we will be chatting about burnout.
Hi, I am Gaia Shrangella, life evolution mentor, soul coach, and Reiki master. I help spiritually conscious women who feel the need for a change in their lives, either professionally or in their relationships, and they will want to rebuild their lives in a different way. I guide them to reconnect with their own inner wisdom and go back to live in a more intuitive way, to recuperate their confidence and to live a joyful and fulfilling life.
Hi, I'm Patti Osveric, Coaching for Inspiration with Patti. I'm a leadership and work-life balance coach, Reiki master, podcaster, and blogger. I'm committed to helping managers and supervisors and others to become better leaders and live a more purposeful, balanced life outside of work. So, Gaia, you ready to talk about burnout?
Of course, that's something we both, in a way or another, experienced at a certain point of our careers. So why not? Maybe our suggestions can help others.
Yes, definitely.
Patty, do you feel like you maybe, I don't know, want to say something about your experience with burnout? If you, a certain point of your life, you experienced that?
Yeah, throughout my career, doing different things as a manager and supervisor, you do get to the point where you are exhausted. You work a lot of hours, you put in a lot of your life to work. So, burnout is a state of emotional and physical and mental exhaustion caused by excessive and prolonged stress. And as a manager and supervisor, a lot of times you have a lot of things going on that you're responsible for to make sure you're meeting goals, making sure that your employees are, hitting their goals. There's a lot of changes happening, so you're having to implement those and you're getting resistance. Things sometimes aren't working out like you wanted them to work out, and you're thinking about how do you fix this? How do you change so that you're hitting your goals? All of these things. So burnout can happen when you're under stress for a long time.
Yeah.
You know, prolonged stress is not good for you physically, mentally, and emotionally. And when you're at that point, you sometimes come across very irritable because you're dealing with all of those emotions.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. The way I see the burnout, it's really a form of imbalance, especially professionally, but also can happen when we are overwhelmed with in other areas of our life. But to me, it's doing too much, doing, but then being too little, right?
Yes.
So it's really a form of imbalance, but then you bring this imbalance to the extreme. The one thing that one point that I want to really give to our viewers is just to remember, at least that's the way I address the burnout and start to think about the burnout and maybe start to resolving that. Thinking about this acronym that I by myself created. It's just for having a suggestions really on the top of your mind and tip of your fingers. It's using the acronym RACA. So, and I will explain more during our show, but I think that the R stands, which is the first thing that we want to be aware of, it's recognizing, because sometimes we are really not aware that we are in burnout. And as you said, you start experiencing these emotional changes. I can share that when it happened with me, especially during pandemia, so I was working long hours. I didn't recognize that I was working so much because I didn't have a clear distinction between my professional life and my personal life. And the emotional symptoms, though, that I experienced were more related to insomnia. I was really feeling always nervous. But I think that's important also to recognize the physical symptoms. Because, for example, besides being really irritable, I started my days with my heart really racing. When I knew that I had some meetings and they were actually through Zoom, so nothing really major, but still I started to have this type of palpitations, and then I realized that something was wrong. Probably was not an extreme form of burnout, but still was really accumulated stress from work. So I think it's really important to recognize that something is not really balanced or something is wrong emotionally, mentally, or physically, really before you get into that stage that it's really dangerous for your health. So I think really, and we hear a lot people talking about mental health, but I would suggest people to have more an eyes rather than, to addressing the issue after the fact and talking about being really acceptable. I would say to people that rather than being really comprehensive and really accepting people with mental health, we need to do something before actually mental health issues come up. And one of the things I think it's important right from the start, it's really recognizing that something is wrong. What do you think, Patty?
No, I definitely agree. When you're feeling all of those symptoms and more, the emotional, physical, mental exhaustion from prolonged stress, and realizing, oh, maybe I need to slow down. Maybe it's time to take a couple days off to regroup, get myself to a level to where I'm not feeling this way. Stop multitasking and just focus on one task at a time, and take regular breaks. Limit working overtime if possible. Journal about the feelings that you're having. A lot of times things are bothering you, or and you need some solutions, or you just need to spend some quiet time to get yourself calm. Self-reflect and make some changes to help reduce your anxiety. Look at your workload and see what you can do differently. Is there a way to delegate some of your workload, or just focus on one thing at a time until you get it finished? May help. When you're doing a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit here, I think that makes you even more anxious.
Yeah.
And you feel like you're not accomplishing anything. And set reasonable expectations
Yeah,
so that things are achievable. Really,
that's really
really taking
important.
time to self-care. If you need to take a couple days off to regroup and get yourself in, if you can, into a way of feeling much better. I know sometimes you can't, but sometimes just shutting off the phone for a couple hours and not answering any emails or texts or phone calls, just taking a little time for you will help that anxiety go down. Some people that may not help, because then they feel like they're overwhelmed answering all of those texts, but do what's right for you to keep yourself from not feeling that emotional, physical stress on your body, mind, and spirit.
Yeah, all good points. Actually, you really touched some points that are really similar to those that I wanted to elaborate on, because as I was talking about this acronym that people can have in their mind, RACA, you can recognize, but then you have to assess. First, there is the assessment, which is part of what you said, like with journaling, that can be an excellent type of practice. So I would like to tell our viewers, the assessment can be like regularly watching out yourself and your life, can be your professional life or wherever you feel like you're overwhelmed, before it becomes worse. And really, even switching off the phone, as Patty said, it's important, because we live in a culture that actually celebrate the accomplishments that can be brought to extreme, even, for example, working after hour. And people are really like proud of these that they see as, as an accomplishments. But actually we were induced to think that these are good type of behaviors, but they're actually unhealthy. So we know that, and that is why I was talking about mental health illness and issues. Why don't we want to address those before it becomes worse? And then the third element of the acronym is C, it's contain. So once you recognize and you assess yourself and your situation, you want to contain these type of, imbalances. So most of the times you need to do an honest assessment. So you need to be really honest with yourself, what's going on, to understand what's going on physically and emotionally. And maybe one thing that you can do that may help is really start assessing your situation, your life, even the tools that you're using, like journaling, every 6 months, for example. Just go back and check what you have been dumping on your journal, how really your emotional status changed, if there were any changes, and you will start seeing that probably something that you did along the way in those 6 months helped. So you can recognize what really can help you and what can be harmful to you. And then start the fourth point, the A, act differently. So is there any habit, any new tool? Maybe you want to do more yoga, you want to take some time off, or schedule some time off, that like we said in different episodes, it's part of your self-care. Or you want to do some breathing exercises just to calm down your nervous system. So what you can implement to start healing or to start to alleviate your status of burnout. That's what I really feel to share with people. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very, very good information, Gaia. Also, getting a hobby, you know,
Yeah.
having a hobby can take your mind away from everything
Work.
that's causing the stress in your life. And just having that hobby, no matter what it is, something that you truly enjoy and you love doing. And just also, a lot of times when work comes first, you're putting everything else to the side.
Yeah.
Friends, family, pets. You're not getting that emotional love or connection that you need. So spending some time with your family, your friends, and your pets, and doing your hobbies, if it's an activity that's socializing, or if it's just reading a book or sitting outside and getting some fresh air and some sun. Just doing something that you truly love to do at least once a week if you can.
Yes, that's really, really important. And you're making me think about when you said emotional connection with friends and family. I think that sometimes when we start putting all these people, things that also give us joy, people we love, on the side, we start to have a sort of connection which is unhealthy, maybe with these overwhelming activities, in this case, maybe work, and our sort of joy gets pulled away from our life. So I would say that when we start recognizing that we don't have enough friends, maybe the only friends that we have are on the job, so we should maybe start realizing that something is imbalanced there. And also, when we start being in this sort of traumatic status, because this is basically burnout, it's something that really affects our nervous system. So we are basically in trauma response. then we start to become also addicted to this type of behaviors. So we feel like we are secure and safe in our space, and we want to continue with this type of behavior, and we want to continue to be in this status, and we don't recognize that we are in burnout. That's why I'm saying it's really important to recognize what's the situation you are in, where is your joy coming from, and how can you, as you said, how can you reintroduce more joy and more emotional connection with the people that you have in your life rather than with your colleagues maybe. It's work is work to me, at least. I come from a culture where I'm Italian, so work is work, friends are friends. And sometimes we tend to separate more our personal life from our professional life. And I think that's something that really helps people to keep some sanity of mind.
No, I agree. Yes, definitely. What are some of the signs of burnout? You're
Yeah.
irritable, you're impatient with
Yes.
others, lack
Yes.
energy,
You
low.
lack energy, you lack also motivation, and so you're focused too much on some sort of activities. As I said, it gives you a sort of adrenaline rush that you will become addicted to those activities. So you cannot see other way out and from behaving differently. So you're like, okay, I'm stuck with this type of life, but there is nothing I can change, which is not true. Yeah. And you start also to become more anxious, more irritable with people, but also maybe you have like physical symptoms, as I said, palpitations, something. It can affect even your blood pressure
Mhm.
and problem with your heart and problem with your mood, because you may get into depression and you don't realize that.
Right. Like having lack of energy or low
Yes.
productivity or chronic fatigue,
Yeah.
loss of appetite or overeating,
Yeah.
no focus, mind wanders, forgetfulness, hard
Yes.
to concentrate. I know I would have forgetfulness. I would
Yeah.
write everything down that was important
Yeah.
so I wouldn't forget it. No
Yeah.
satisfaction from achievements, feeling unappreciated for all your extra work effort, feelings of disillusionment about your career, isolation, depression, anxiety, using alcohol or
Too
drugs
young.
or
Yeah.
food to feel better and not to feel at all.
Yeah.
And like Gaia had said, a change in your sleeping patterns, maybe insomnia or oversleeping, are signs of burnout is
Yeah.
there or is on its way.
Yeah. And it's important what you said, because having to do too many things at once, like multitasking, is one also of the problem. Yeah. And you see how is counterintuitive. You want to do more, but then you become more forgetful and you are not really more productive.
Right.
It is actually it's something that doesn't doesn't go really well, yeah, together. You
Yes.
want to do more, but then you end up doing less. And actually, even lately, it's been reevaluated this idea of the multitasking. People are studying and they are saying that it's actually not working. It's better to focus on single activities for small increments of time. Try to complete these activities and then switch to other tasks.
Yes, because when you complete something, you feel like you accomplished something.
Yeah,
But when you're multitasking and you're hitting all of these things and you're not completing them, it's like it causes you to feel like you're not accomplishing
yeah.
anything. You're just,
Even giving you more anxiety.
yeah,
Yeah,
you're in total chaos.
yeah, agree.
I know when I was young, I was trained to multitask.
Yeah,
And throughout my career, I did that. But focusing on one thing and getting it done really makes you feel like, oh, wow, I accomplished this. I can move on
yeah.
to something else that I need to accomplish. Anything else, Gaia, that would like to share about this topic of burnout that we
Mm,
haven't addressed already?
I think I shared what I was feeling to share at this moment. So, but if the viewers have any question, any comment, please let us know. We are always pleased to give you feedback, give you advices, tips, or even to receive any impression, any feedback from you.
Well, thank you so much for watching us, and please leave a comment, like, and follow Gaia and Patti on our social media channels. We will have them in the notes. Thank you.
Thank you for
Bye.
watching. Bye.